Mate. Yeah,
that's all right. That's all good. Well, but yeah, beautiful. We got everyone speaking, and I'll press live on the YouTube, and then Tim, I reckon we're all set, ready to go.
The second last time this year. All right.
Yep. Sweet. Well, we're live, Tim. I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Cool. Hello and welcome everyone to the AFL Fantasy Fanatics round review. We are recording live on Twitter and YouTube on Sunday, the 20th of August, after the completion of round 23 of the AFL Fantasy season and the grand final of the AFL Fantasy Content Creators Cup, proudly sponsored by Infinite Wealth. I am your host and AFL Fantasy Fanatic, Tim Guest. You can find me on Twitter at TimGuestAU, and if there's a player you want discussed or a question you want answered, tweet us on the spaces below or comment if you're watching on YouTube, and we'll get through them at the end. And joining me, as always, is my co-host, one of the busiest mans I know in fantasy football, and a man you can find on Twitter at BailesDT. Bales, mate, how was your round? What did you score? Where are you ranked? Actually, forget that. Let's just talk about it first, mate. The Crows.
I was going to say, mate, it doesn't matter where I'm ranked. It doesn't matter how I'm going. I've been in a fetal position for the good part of 24 hours. Yes. Oh, mate. Bloody hell. What a shambles. What a shambles.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was watching the game last night with mate Ben, who I'm staying with over here in Perth. And, I thought it was a goal. Keys is bloody going off celebrating, doing the Marcus Rashford, if any soccer fans out there doing the celebration there. And thought it was a goal. And I thought, okay, let's hit the padding. And I was like, that's a goal. And then they sort of view, bloody Crows. As the English like to say, it was a moral victory.
Look, I mean, the amount of times we see scores that seem completely obvious get reviewed, and then you see something like that at such a critical time, a critical game. I can't believe it wasn't reviewed.
It should have been reviewed, but at the end of the day, Crows had a chance to beat Collingwood twice, beat Giants twice, beat Melbourne away, Brisbane away. They should have won at least one of them. But and again, as Nixie said, Crows could have done better in the first half, and they didn't. So
let's turn it to fantasy now, mate.
I was just about to turn to fantasy. So, but in terms of the round for me, it again took a back seat, but we didn't do too bad. Well, did pretty well. 2,518. So. Good sort of bounce back after a couple of poor weeks. Put me to round rank of 5,055. Well, actually, hang on. Did I lose? It's saying I got 25-18, and it's saying I scored 25-21. So I scored 1-2. I must have lost a couple of points in the post-game update, which I did. I think I lost the thing. So 25-18 put me up to 2,472. So that's up at just under 200, just under 200 spots. My apologies, about 190 spots. So we're still 472 spots outside top 2,000 to hopefully get top 2K finish before the end of the year. But +3, -3. There's plenty of sort of a few big performers that could get the +3 here. I'm probably not going to go the obvious one. I'm going to go to Nick Newman, who I brought in on debut. I was looking at going a Will Dade, Nick Newman, or going it was going to be Crouch before the LDU news came out, to Clayton Oliver. And I decided to go Nick Newman with the ceiling matchup in no tag. And he came through and with that last quarter, I think he had a 53-point last quarter. So went away big. And I know there was more players that scored higher than him, but I thought he was deserving of the +3. So I'll give it to him. And -3, again, there's a couple of poor performers, but I think the one I've got to give it to, Caleb Sarong. So I brought him in last week. I went him over Laird, and I could have got Tom Green this week if I went Laird last week. And yeah, Sarong back-to-back 86s is really disappointing. So he gets my -3.
Mate, no dramas. All right, shall we turn to our guests? We've got a couple of rippers this week. We've got let me introduce you to them like this. So we've got 2 top 10 coaches. Now, one is a former top 10 and the other one is a current top 10. Let's go to the former first. Harmey from PodPod, mate. How are you? How'd you go this week, mate?
Yep, not going too badly, thanks, Tim. But I guess I probably had a bit of a nightmare round, which just goes to my season. Put up a score of 2,461. So, I don't know. It seems a bit stupid, doesn't it, to be disappointed with 2-4-6-1? But anyway, that brings my rank at 3-6-3-6. So I think I went down about 200 spots. Geez, +3, -3. I've got plenty of -3s, but I better leave a few for the rest of you. This one highlighted my round. I had Harry Sheasel coming in all week, and in about 5 minutes before the bounce, I swapped it to Jaden Short. So Sheasel came out with 129 and Short got 74. So 74 against North Melbourne cost me 55 points. I'm going to give him my -3. I think Jaden Short there. And then the +3, my VC, probably a lot of people's VC or C this week, but Marshall, 141 points. That's pretty impressive stuff from him.
Yeah. Awesome, mate. All right. Well, like I said to you before the pod, mate, only one more week to go and it's all over. We can forget about it for another year. Put it behind us. But let's turn to a man who is, well, he's charged at the moment. He's just stormed into the top 10 this year. Well, not for the first time this year, I don't think it is, but back into the top 10. He's ranked 9th at the moment. We're talking to DT Bindi, mate. How are you?
Pretty good, boys. It's good to be single digits again. I was ranked 10 for the last 3 weeks, so
you finally pushed one up, eh? Yeah.
Good stuff, mate.
Yeah, but it's been the ranking really hasn't moved much for the past 2 months since the buys, really. But good to go in the right direction.
What'd you have to score to move up, mate? It must have been big.
It was okay. It was 2.529.
Okay.
So, we can probably actually go into the +3 here. So, I was going to give it to Nick Newman on debut, but Bales, you beat me to it. I'm going to give it to Tom Stewart. And I know a lot of coaches have him, but 133, fantastic, especially when there was talk about that potential tag or attention coming from Ross Lyon. To get 133 is huge. And, next week with Mitch Duncan out, geez, I think he's gonna be good again next week too.
Yeah, highest score for the year as well.
That is highest for the year. Wow. Yep. There you go. -3. Ooh. I'm actually fortunate, Bales, because I traded out to Ron this week. I'm just very scared about next week, so I decided to go a week early on him. I'm trying to think who my next worst would be. Probably would be Sam Doherty with the 80. It's not too bad, but it's just my lowest score, so I don't have much else to say.
Yeah. Totally got it, mate. Totally got it. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, boys. I'm going to run through my score and we'll kind of, combine the Content Creators Cup at the same time because myself and Mitch were playing in the grand final of the Infinite Wealth AFL Fantasy Content Creators Cup where winning coaches will get $5,000 for their favourite charity. And just a reminder, there's something special for every coach available too to head across. So this will probably this will be the second last time we do it, right? So this is only probably about another 2 weeks that it's going to be open. So make sure if you haven't done it, to head across to infinitewealth.com.au/AFL Fantasy to claim your free 5-module online learning program called the Fast Track to Freedom. Basically, you find out how I bought 13 properties by the age of 27 and learn how to pay things like your mortgage off up to 3 times faster, save thousands on your tax every year, and how to build an asset base and generate a passive income. Like I said, infinitewealth.com.au/AFL Fantasy. So in the grand final this week, Bales, you got it right. You said on Friday it was going to come down to less than 20 points. And that's exactly what it came down to. Yeah. So in the end, it turned out to be 12 points after adjustments. Mitch came home in the final quarter of the last game. Really, the guy that won it for him was Andrew Brayshaw with, what did he have, 120 something, was it? 119, is it? Yeah, 119.
Yeah, he had, a 37 and a 35-point quarter or whatever, so he came home strong.
He essentially won it for him to take out the grand final. So Mitch will be getting $3,000 for his favourite charity. So we'll figure out who that is. We'll probably have a chat to him during the week or something along those lines and get that sorted out. And then we move into the who's going to be the overall winner. And just to give you an update on where we're at from that perspective. So it's basically going to come down to Mitch and I again for overall. So I'm currently ranked 349. And he's ranked 301. I was just going to try and have a look at what the difference in the points is. 51. I'm not sure what it is. I'll figure it out later, but it can't be much. It must be 20, 30 points tops. So the final week will come down to, and that the overall winner will then get $2,000 for their favourite charity. So totaling $5,000. So that's how I scored for the round. That's my overall rank. My round rank was about 4,500. 4,215. I +3 and -3. Look, I'm gonna give it to Rowan Marshall with the VC on him, posting a 141. Massive score there on the Saturday night. So it's a bit hard to pass him up, although his mate, the Ruck Lama, sitting right next to him, did pretty well as well. And then a -3 for me. It's pretty hard to split. I mean, Jack Siebel, I thought he was going to go massive, and unfortunately he didn't, so an 88. And then Luke Jackson, 83. I mean, really, probably Luke Jackson's who lost it for me. If he'd scored 12 more points, it'd be different, right? We'd be drawn. So all he had to score was a 95, which you would have thought he could have easily done. That's my +3 and -3. And then just one last thing we're going to touch on before we head into the games is just to let everyone know about the AFL Fantasy Fanatics Round 24 live show. So get this, guys. We've already got a bunch of tickets that are already sold. Yeah, so Bales is in Perth this week. He was at Varsity on Friday. He's going to be on Varsity on Friday this week. But what we're doing for the AFL Fantasy Fanatics Round 24 live show is on Sunday, August 27th from 4 p.m. at Varsity Bar. We're going to all meet in the back room there. We're going to watch that last game, which is, I keep on forgetting, what's the bloody last game of the...
Carlton versus GWS.
Yeah, Carlton versus GWS. We're going to watch the last game of the round. We're going to kind of cheer everyone in as they come in for the overall winner and, see how everyone finishes up in their league finals and all that kind of stuff. We're going to have a few beers, have some food there, and then straight after the final siren, we're going to do our live show with a crowd there. There's no cost for tickets, guys. However, you do need to get tickets because there is limited numbers. We only have limited to about 50, possibly 60 people in that back room there, and we've already got, close to half those tickets gone. So if you want to get some, I'm going to post I had problems doing this last time. Let's see if I can do it this time. I'm going to post the link in the spaces right now. So if people want to follow that link, Bales, if you could post it in the YouTube.
And then for people you're listening back on the pod, I'm sure we'll post that in the description as well.
We'll post it in the description as well. Get in there, secure your tickets, and we'll let's see you on Sunday as we watch the last game of the round and finish off the AFL fantasy season for 2023.
And then we can also, the last thing we'll do probably before we get into the games is also with the Content Creators Cup, sort of the grand final done and dusted, we can probably official welcome. Obviously, Harmey will be part of the Content Creators Cup next year.
Yeah, thanks, gents. I'm looking forward to it. And don't worry, Guesty, we'll get Mitch next year, mate.
Come on, mate. Look. I'm going to be humble in my defeat. As much as I wanted to win, I'm just absolutely stoked with how well the Content Creators Cup has gone. Like, so many people have, just really enjoyed following it and kind of sent messages to me about it. And I don't know. I just think the whole concept has been a real winner, and I hope everyone else agrees as well. And I've just loved doing it, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Hey, Tim, just a couple questions for you, buddy.
Sure, man.
Firstly, how much is a flight from Sydney to Perth these days?
Oh, Jesus, Bales, you might know. What was your flight from?
Sydney to Perth, I'm not sure. I know Adelaide
probably
to
$500-600 or something.
About
return?
500. I was about 505 from Adelaide, so I'm not sure. It might actually be cheaper from Sydney and Melbourne, just because they're maybe the bigger airports. There might be more flights. I'm not sure, but
am I flying over there, or are you flying over here?
Well, I was going to say, that's not much money for you guys to buy me a ticket for the live show next week, right?
Oh, okay, all right, Jesus. We'd like to get Bales over here, mate. We'd love to have you over here, but that's
Nah, totally understand. No, look,
put me on the spot, bloody.
What I will accept is you need to have some DT Bindi signs in the crowd for the last round.
Top 10. You're going to be the one that's fucking balling soon, all right? So
I need you boys to cheer me home.
Do you get a box or? Hell yeah, that's exactly what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, that's why I need to get the signs going, man. The Bindi signs.
Yeah, good idea. No, we'll definitely get that going. We'll get some live streaming going or something like that and cheer you on the way home next week, mate.
Oh, looking forward to it. I'll be there in spirit.
Good stuff. All right. Anything else we need to do, or should we get into the games, Bales?
Get the games, I reckon.
Awesome. All right, let's kick it off. Collingwood defeated Brisbane by 24 points at Marvel Stadium. There's a couple of injuries there, but nothing really relevant, mate. So let's just turn our attention across to the players.
Yeah, the review system's a joke. No, I'm kidding. No, we'll get in the games. So from the Collingwood game and Brisbane on Friday night, Pendles threw back the clock and was top scorer for the game with 122. So he was very good for draft coach who got him. Darcy Cameron, Tim, I'll go to you first with that one. So Darcy Cameron for you, 106. It ended up sort of being the cover that you had for LDU because I know you were really busy and didn't see that out, but 106 from Darcy Cameron was you're pretty happy with him, but it could have been a lot bigger.
Yeah, look. I don't know if it could have been bigger. I mean, was it 106 in the end, right?
Yeah, Mason coming on. He was on 81
hell
half
yeah,
time.
that's right. Yeah, look, I mean, he was sitting on my bench. I had the E on him. I wasn't really looping him. I don't know. I just didn't see him kind of scoring that well in this game. But like I said, we ended up being able to kind of slide some few players around once LDU was out so that I could use his loophole score. And it kind of saved, it didn't save me, but it kept me in the game, obviously, until that last game. So, yeah, look, obviously scored amazingly in that first half. They subbed Cox on, about halftime, something like that, and then he went straight into the centre bounce and just took all the ruck contests, I think, in the third quarter, and Darcy Cameron did, I think he had a single-digit point quarter or something along those lines. So, yeah, for him to then come home and finish on the 106, pretty happy with, but I don't think he's a player you really want sitting on your pine, and I don't really think he's a player that you want to be looping. So I think he's on the chopping block for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, just to comment on that one. I feel like all year when we talk about Rucks versus Brisbane, we're like, Big O, he's really restrictive. But man, some Ruck would have put ridiculous scores on him lately. Like DCAM just did 80 and a half on him. Mason Cox came out at half time, and I think he got 50-ish, 60-ish or so. Max Gawn a few weeks ago just went bang on him.
Yeah.
They're actually quite a good matchup for Rockman now.
Yeah. So what you're saying is next week, they play the Saints next week, so Marshall will go big then.
Over the last five, so not including this weekend, but over the last five, they've been the biggest, the best ruck contest. So I don't know. Is Big O injured or has he been out?
No, his knee play. He played. Fort missed a couple of weeks ago, but McInerney's been. It's just been giving up points. So
yeah. So who's playing him next week?
St Kilda. So Marshall. There you go. Something to watch. So
captain option. When do they play?
Yeah. They play on the Saturday, I believe. I think it's one of the midday.
4:30.
For the twilight game. So
yeah, spot on. 2:35. Yeah, 4:30 Eastern's time. Against Brisbane. All right, well, watch out for that, peeps.
Yep. Josh Dunkley got 102 and Lockie Neal 97. They sort of didn't really set the world on fire. They just did what they need to. But again, they've both got the Saints this week. So I think both are probably holds this week. I think Dunks was always a hold anyway, but Neal, if you've still got him, is probably a hold there. Tom Mitchell got an 85. A few coaches jumped on him with being quite cheap in the 600s, but didn't quite put that score up. And just a shout out to Mr. 36.5k followers, Dev Robertson.
Picked up 20,000 Instagram followers.
25,000 followers he's gained since the famous shirt Guernsey ripping off on Friday. So shout out to him. He'd be loving life. His phone must be off the charts. So yeah, good on Dev Rob. But yeah, Tim, that'll be all for that game. Not too much from that one, but we'll move on to the Saturday games.
Right. Richmond defeated North by 29 points at the MCG. So there was a late change here. So LDU laid out foot. I completely missed that news, though, and was replaced in the side by Flynn Perez. And then McDonald did a hamstring during the game.
Yeah, which...
Sorry, mate. I was just going to jump in. This was one of my fails for the week, so I traded out Sheasel. Although I did bring in... Newman, so it was a sideways trade, but that was another trade that probably lost me the game as well.
Yeah, unfortunate with that. But we saw the return of Blake Drury, so that was the highlight of the game. There's we'll sort of shout out to the three retirees there, and Jack Rewalt, Trent Koch, and Jack Zeeble. Obviously been great to their club, and unfortunately with the whole Jack Zeeble incident that happened Saturday night. But congrats to those three on great careers for their respective clubs. But Harry Sheasel, 129. So Harmey went very well. Probably more. It could be. Is he a target for next week for one? But I probably just want to pose just a question about maybe next year. Is he maybe a bit of a consideration if he's going to have that defender status next year? And do you see him having another good year again?
Hard to see him going much beyond what he will be priced at, though. Like, he's had such a good year. He hasn't had too many down weeks. So he will be a defender, which is nice, but I think you're probably going to find better value elsewhere. Tell you one I did notice there, though, Taron Thomas, he got 105. And if you think about guys that are potentially underpriced next year, he's probably one on your watch list, for preseason.
Yep, I was gonna say Taron Thomas there with 105 playing very well. But Harmey, is she a potential option against Gold Coast this week? They've been known to give up a few points. No Zeeble. Blundstone can give up some points to the defenders. So is he a consideration for some coaches?
Yeah, 100%. That's why I'm a bit disappointed I didn't go in, because he's going to have a bit of a better role with Zeeble out. One of the reasons why I sort of balked at it and changed my pick was because he was named a bloody centre-half forward, and I should have known he was never going to play in the forward line. So, but yeah, he'd be a good pick up this week. He's got 110 and 129 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's been very, very good. Had an amazing season in his first year. Dusty, 127, Bolton 124. Very good for draft coaches if they've got them. Might have won a grand final or prelim, whichever week you guys were in. Taron Thomas we mentioned with the 105. Tim Taranto, Bindi, another disappointing subpar game of 89, and just really hasn't been that same player since the buys. And it's probably been a multiple factors there, but it's really Hopper being in that side has really sort of brought Taranto's ceiling scores down, even his floor with a few scores under 100. You still holding him for this final round, or is consideration for trade? What are your thoughts with him heading into the final round?
Look, clearly he hasn't been the same since the bye. Whether that be, I've heard stories about him, having illness or Hopper in the side, but he has underperformed. Now, the thing is, I think most coaches are going to have a player that needs to go before Taranto this week. So I can't see many teams trading him out. And that's a bit of a roundabout answer, but I think there are going to be other forwards and other mids that coaches want to get off more than Tim Taranto. Yeah,
I agree. But could be one if you're in a very, very luxurious position and there's someone with a better matchup. That could be something to potentially look at. Jack Zeeble, 88, as Tim mentioned before, was hoping for a bigger score and probably could have went a bit bigger there. But 88, not the worst, but probably not the score a lot of
went into the forward line in that final quarter as well.
Yeah, had a chance to kick a goal as well, and unfortunately tugged it a bit to the left. So Jaden Short, very disappointing with a 74 as well. A lot of coaches jumped on him for a good matchup in the last couple of weeks, and he's got Port this week. So I think pretty much all of us can say he would be one that is he one that we'd be moving out? Port in Adelaide this week.
Yeah. Oh, look, he's definitely one that'll be on the chopping block, that's for sure. Just defenders, though. There's a bit of a mix in that defence. It depends who he's going to go to.
Luke Ryan, just a bit of an early one with Hawks this week, but I'm sure we'll talk about some more players as we go through. That's probably one that just comes off the top of my head. Yeah, exactly right. It's
a sort of player where it's like, if you had 10 trades next week, absolutely you would move him on to a Luke Ryan. But with 2 trades, there's just probably bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Josh Simpkin as well, 67, just been a bad year, but just one to probably put in your black book early next season, just being ridiculously cheap. So just one to keep an eye on. Beautiful. Cool. Move on to Gold Coast and Carlton.
Yeah, Gold Coast fed by Carlton by 4 points at Heritage Bank Stadium. So, yeah, not much to talk about from this game either.
Harmey, Flanders. he's been pretty good, hasn't he, since the buys? He's probably the one that a lot of us missed.
I just love him. So he probably should have really got my +3, 125 points. But he was doing this in the VFL, So for him to come in, get a decent role and to be putting up these big scores shouldn't really be that surprising. It's funny now when you look at the scores that Rail and Anderson are putting out and then you see what Flanders is doing. He's like a step above from a fantasy perspective.
North Melbourne this week up for Gold Coast. Is he an option to bring in your forward line? Got a good matchup.
We'd be close to 800,000 now. Well, he's probably over it. I brought him in through the buy period, like just after the buy, so I've been really happy with him.
Yeah, so I'm just having a look here. Flanders' price is going to be at 805. So a bit expensive there, but he's performing like it. That's for sure. He's been fantastic. Nick Newman, 125. I know myself and Tim jumped on him this week, and I dare say, well, Bindi, I think the thing that people are scared off with is the fact that he's got the Giants this week. Toby Green, does he lock down on him? Are you is that a concern heading into this week, or the fact that he got a 116 against Green early in the year alleviates a bit of those concerns?
Yeah, I suppose it's a minor risk. I'm not too worried about it personally. I think his role has clearly changed. He seems to be, the designated quarterback, the designated kicker for this side now, with Doherty playing in the midfield. I don't see that changing because it's going so well for them with him back there.
Yeah. Took 118. Tim's probably short answer here. Is he an option against North Melbourne this week?
I would be looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
Look, his role's been all over the shop.
Yeah, inconsistent.
I know it's North Melbourne, but who knows
Final round.
where he's playing? Yeah, don't know.
Might give other players a chance. Yeah, probably right.
Look, I mean, I haven't looked forward too much, right? So I can't really say who are the trading options, but I can't imagine that Took is going to be. I mean, you've got people like Laird. I mean, Oliver will be. Your Green. Yeah, I can't see that he's going to be in the top sort of 3 to 5 players that you're going to be wanting to bring in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you go.
Oh, he's the sort of player that if you owned him for some reason right now, you'd just keep him for next week because you'd be like, oh, the matchup's nice. Let's see how he goes. But I just can't see anyone bringing him in.
Yeah, I agree. And you've got like a Matt Crouch at the same price, and if you cash strapped, you're probably going to go for Crouch. Who's got the you over him, who you know what he's going to do. But yeah, just played well on the weekend. If you've got him, you're probably going to hold. George Hill got a 106, so another ton yet again for him. So if you've got him, you'd probably be holding on to him almost once again. If not, if you can get him up, I still don't mind that play as well. Noah Anderson, I know, Benny, you've been an owner, but I know that you would say as well, he's got to go. That's just another poor score there. And Sam Doherty there.
I actually disagree with that. I actually don't know if he needs to go. I think the matchup this week, I think he could potentially give us a good score. But I think I wish I got rid of him. But actually, that's a lie. I traded to wrong instead, and I'm happy with that. But I think if you have Anderson at this point, I don't think you're trading him against
this year with that matchup. Yeah.
But you're absolutely not trading him in. Let's just say that much.
Yeah, no, I don't think you will be. And then Sam Doherty got an 80 as well in a bit of a quieter game there, but I'm sure we're not trading him out heading into the final round unless he's ruled out for some reason. But Tim, moving on to the big blowout of the weekend.
Yeah, GWS defeated Essendon by 126 points at Giant Stadium. So no injuries of note there. Bales, take it away.
Yeah, well, who would have thought Jesse Hogan would have gone and got the biggest score of the season with 188? Had an opportunity there to get the high score really ever, but unfortunately couldn't quite get a couple of chances. I think he was very sore at the end as well after having such a big day. But 188 would have won plenty of draft finals. So shout out to those coaches that had him in there. And Tom Green, 120. He was great once again. Tim, he's going to be an option this week, even in a tougher matchup against Carlton.
Yeah, I mean, Carlton has kind of eased for inside mids over the past month or two. So they're not as tough a matchup. I think he's definitely going to be up there in terms of one of the.
He looks refreshed.
Yeah, he looks like he's got that form back that he had right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So he's definitely going to be one I'm going to be looking at. That's for sure. He was fantastic. So shout out to those that jumped on him. I know Tim, you jumped on him this week, and I know Cara also jumped on him. So be very happy with that. Harry Himmelberg, 114. Those coaches that jumped off him, that's unfortunately it's fantasy. Yeah, those players go 114 or go big once you trade them out. So unfortunate, but if you still had him, you would be very happy with that score. Stephen Canelio got a 104 as well. He was good. He's got Carlton this week. I think again probably got more issues than training him out. Lockie Whitfield, 102. Draft coach will be very happy, and a few coaches have got him in classic. Then the Essendon Bombers duo, Parrish and Merritt, went sub-100. Josh Kelly there went 85. But Harmey, just your thoughts on Parrish and Merritt heading into the Pies this week? I'm assuming you'd be holding both, and probably both going to maybe put up some good, better scores this week.
Yeah, look, I'm a Bombers supporter, Bale, so probably won't have too much to say about this one. But if I had either of them, I would hold. Like, I mean, the Collingwood haven't been that difficult because the midfield is a bit, it's a bit damaged, I suppose, with Jordan Tagoe and anyway. So yeah, you definitely, I'd be holding both of them, those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even better, I'd be VCing Merritt. I think against Collingwood, it's just
very good shout.
Fantastic matchup for mids.
Yeah, and I know Parrish also enjoys playing the Pies as well. And Josh Kelly got an 85. A bit quiet, and I don't think too many people have got him either. So we'll move on to the Saturday night games. Tim is on mute.
Yes, we'll go to the St Kilda game. Hey, St Kilda defeating Geelong by 33 points at Marvel Stadium. So probably a relevant injury here is, Seb Ross did his hammy. So I know that, since Seb Ross has kind of moved into that midfield rotation the last couple of games, it's kind of had an impact on Steele and Crouch. So that might, have some impacts there. Actually, Radicalier did his hammy as well, so that might impact some ruck stocks or some things there at Geelong as well.
Yep. Plenty of big scores from this game. So Ron Marshall, who, again, he could have got my +3 as well. I just want to share that Nick Newman for my +3. But Marshall, 141. A lot of people's VCs went a massive. And a few people did go VC on a Friday and had Marshall straight captain. He didn't disappoint with a 141. As we mentioned before, he's got Brisbane this week. So could put up a good score because Brisbane are giving up some points to those rucks out of late. So Jack Sinclair, first time this season he's gone back-to-back 120s, I believe. Backed up 121 last week with a 136. Brisbane at the Gabba this week's tough, but you're definitely not looking at moving a guy like Sinclair. He's been very good. Tom Stewart, 133. Bindi, you mentioned him before for your +3, and we were saying that that's his highest score, but he's now got the Dogs down at GMH Bay for the final game. A lot of people have got him, but for those coaches that don't, is he an option to bring in?
Yep, I think he is. I think if you were looking for a defender, say perhaps you had what's his name, Siebel at D6, and you needed to do an upgrade this week because obviously Siebel won't be playing. I'd feel really confident bringing him in with the Dogs matchup and with no Duncan there. Yeah,
agreed. Yeah, and Mitch Dunn got a 115, but he was offered. Was it a game? Was that correct? A 1 game ban?
Yeah.
One match. Yep. No idea if they're challenging though.
Yeah. So they could. So just keep an eye on that if you've got Duncan and Stewart and see how that unfolds. But this stage, as we're recording, he's missing this week. But he was good, 115 for anyone that had him. So you put a good score up and you can trade him out. Jack Steele 115 and Brad Crouch 100. Harmey, they've got the Lions at the Gabba this week. What are your thoughts with them heading into the final game? Probably not trade-ins, but are they maybe trade outs, a hold? What are your thoughts of those two?
Yeah, look, I've got a good feeling that Steele will get it done, so I'm happy enough with him, but I should probably say that I traded out Crouch this week after last week's poor performance. So, yeah, he's still got 100, which is nice, but he could go, I guess, if you needed to. That's where I landed with him.
Yeah, he was going for me until I saw the news that LDU was out, which meant that I had to hold Crouch. So happy with 100, but yeah, I think he's a trade. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. Just he's a bit inconsistent of late. So shout out to those people that still got Marcus Windhager. Got a 95. So anyone that's got him would be very happy with that score there. And Tim's boy Gavin got a 91. A little bit of a difficult matchup. Tim, he's got Brisbane this week. Is he a potential option to trade out?
Oh God, I haven't looked really yet. Maybe, but he's once again those defenders. He's been scoring pretty well. I mean, I think prior to this week, his average over the last 3 to 5 games was between 102 and 104. So, a 91 is a little bit disappointing. Brisbane's a bit of a tougher matchup for defenders, I think.
Oh, they're not too bad for the designated kicker.
No, they're not actually. Yeah. So. Probably not.
Okay, yeah. I just thought I'd ask the question with the tougher matchup.
I'm still wallowing in the loss of a grand final. All right, I haven't decided to. I'm cutting for next week.
Yeah, that's all good. Perfect. Well, we'll move on to.
Hold on, Bales. I've just got something that I need to make a note of. I've got another player this week that's killed me, and I'll mention that later. But can we just make a note about Paddy Dangerfield? Uninjured, 41.
Oh,
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
Imagine,
Wow.
imagine that as a draft owner in your final sort of thing.
is that how old he is now? He's getting on, isn't he?
Yeah.
How old is he now? I mean, he's looking old.
He's in the 30s. Yeah.
Wait, we
Yeah.
were talking about how many times Bales has publicly cried about the Adelaide score review? 41?
Yeah.
Bindi.
Sorry, mate.
Don't bring it up again, mate. Don't bring it up.
Sorry, I had to get in there.
Unfortunately, we have to move to that game.
Yes. Here we are. Adelaide defeating Sydney by 4 points. Sorry, defeated by Sydney.
That's
Did
the
you?
result.
Oh,
That's the result.
you changed it in the run sheet. You bastard.
Good. I'm so glad that you read it out like that. We won. We're in the finals. No.
So what was it really?
Defeated by 1 point.
But defeated by 1 point by Sydney at the Adelaide Oval. Sloan hurt his eye. No injuries out of Sydney, mate. Your mate top scored.
I'm still laughing. I'm so happy you read that out. I'm sorry. That cheered me up. I've moved on from the review. No, I'll never move on from it. But the Sloan eye injury is a bit bad. I know he's had surgery on his eye before, so that's not good. But yeah, in terms of scores, my boy Rory Laird. I didn't actually look at his score until an hour after the game because I was that salty. But not crying, just calling people and just saying plenty of explicit terms. But Rory Laird, 118, West Coast this week. I don't need to tell too many people that he's a good option. The one thing I would flag with Laird is that with the Crows now officially out of the finals race due to no fault of their own, is that he has had a shoulder issue for a number of weeks now. So it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility that they put him on ice for the final game against West Coast. So just keep an eye on that. I think he'll play. I think he's a type of player that will play. But just keep that on the watch list for when teams get announced. But if he is playing, he's a great option. Errol Goulden, 107, was just got the job done once again. Just continues to get it done week in, week out, and has been an amazing pick. So if you don't have him, try and jump on him for the final round and just enjoy at least one round of Goulden. But if not, we can. Yeah.
Did he get pinned early in that game? Was he getting tagged early?
Not from what I saw. I don't know if Harmey or Bindi, if you guys saw anything different, but I didn't see any attention from my end. So.
Okay.
Yeah, someone was in the first half was giving him attention. I can't remember who it was though, Tim.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Was it Keys? Would it have been Keys? Probably. Yeah, I don't know. I noticed his scoring was pretty suppressed in the first half, and I wondered whether he had attention. That's all.
Yeah, and then he went well in the second half, which is good. So he got to a good score. Matt Crouch, Bindi, 101. He's got the Eagles this week. I know he hasn't put up huge ceiling scores. He's gone 3 scores in the low hundreds and then a 120. But with the Eagles up this week, and if Laird was to say miss this week, is Crouch an option at a cheaper price to bring in?
If Laird would have missed this week, yep, I think so. I think for anyone that's cash strapped and needs to bring in a mid, he's also a good option. For anyone that isn't cash strapped and is looking to bring in a mid, I think that I would go for a Laird or a Green over him. But he's a fine option.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, if anyone's sort of worried about Laird, don't be too worried. I'm just putting it out there in case he did. So, Jordan Dawson, 96. So again, we're not trading Dawson out, but he's been a little bit down on his early season form. He had that big good patch from round 11 through to round 18 where he only had one score below 123 and had obviously that big 170 and a few 130s there. But since that 123 against the Giants in round 18, he's only had the one score above 100 since round 19. That was against Port with a 134. The other 4 have been 90. So by no means has he been awful, but just a bit down on form the last few weeks there. Tex, 65. Obviously, conditions didn't suit, but Harmey, Eagles this week. Coleman still, it's an outside chance for Tex. I think he's 8 behind Curnow. Is he an option for coaches to look at still in this final week?
I think we've been flagging this for a little bit on the pod, but I just don't think I could do it, mate. Yeah, I think everything would sort of have to go right, wouldn't it? And West Coast didn't actually look too bad this week.
Yep, yeah, they performed very, very well. Tim, Bindi, any of you guys potentially keen on a bit of Tex Walker in the final round?
Just on that, I know we haven't kind of. Maybe we should wait. But I can't believe we won that game. What were we thinking? I mean, we've lost the round number one pick now. And I can't believe none of the commentators were talking about it.
Did you hear Simo after the game when Simo just like, "Oh yeah, we're trying to tank for the last 3 minutes"? And I thought that was quite funny.
I'm actually really confused as to what the hell's going on there. Seriously, I wonder whether they are going to now get rid of Simo, and maybe that was kind of him going, well, bugger it. I mean, you'd think if the club and the coach and everyone were on the same path, they would have not really been looking to win that game.
Well, you know what makes it worse? You're actually probably going to lose pick 2 now as well with the Mackay compensation.
Yeah. So, I'm a bit perplexed about all that. But anyway, we're not even at that game yet.
But yeah, Tex, anyone interested in the final round for Bindi or you, Tim?
Interested, but I'm interested to see what happens with Jeremy McGovern. I think he might be a bit sore from that match. If Jeremy McGovern were to be out, then, geez, you'd have to consider
no defenders. We'll have no tall defenders whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Josh Rotham, I think, will be our biggest defender.
Yeah. Got to be definitely one to consider, especially if he's out. And then Callum Mills, far out, 51. It's been a biggest fall off this year with him, and obviously just different roles and stuff. But again, he is one to keep an eye on for next year with how cheap he is. But you're probably not going to be picking him with any confidence just due to the fact that he could just play everywhere. So I'm not sure.
Until he comes out in the preseason and absolutely smashes it, and then we all jump on.
Yeah, exactly right. But perfect. We'll move on the final 3 games and smash them out, I reckon.
All right. So Sunday games. Once again, just a reminder, if there's a player you want to discuss or a question you want answered, tweet in the spaces below or comment on YouTube. I've put the link now in the spaces. So if you haven't seen that before, go and get that link for the Round 24 live show if you want to come and join us for that. But moving on to Western Bulldogs, defeated by West Coast Eagles by 7 points at Marvel Stadium. So Yo has injured his thigh, so another injury for the year. But that's pretty much it for the injuries.
Unfortunately for Yoey, it's not a big shock. He just cannot, unfortunately, just get on the park and stay on the park. But yeah, plenty of dogs going big. Tim English, 146, was huge. He's been fantastic all year. Adam Treloar, 143, went big. If anyone jumped on him as a bit of a pod, would have been very, very nice. And then also the Bont with a 140, just been a great pick for those this year. And if you've been able to start with him or jumped on him, he's been fantastic. Liam Duggan, 112, was very, very good in a good matchup against the Dogs. Has a tougher matchup against the Crows, who don't get too many contested marks there, but been a good pod nonetheless. Caleb Daniel, 89. Not the best score, but it's okay. It's a pass there. And Bailey Smith, 84. It's an okay, well, probably not a great score if you brought him in as a 1 week play, but got to be one we'll keep an eye on for next year. And Jack McRae subbed that tactically at 3. Well, tactically, I don't know if he's injured, but it said tactically on the app with a 51. So if anyone were holding on to him for this Eagles matchup, did anyone still have McRae, or did we all jump off of him?
Oddy Bales. This was one of my things from the weekend. As I said, I had a bit of a nightmare. I could have traded him out, but I held him because I thought the Eagles would be a good matchup.
No liver.
And no liver.
No liver.
I think he started the first CBA in the midfield. So I was like, this actually might end up all right. But 51 points and subbed at the start of the last quarter. Amazing stuff.
Is Liberty certainty to be back next week?
Not guaranteed,
should do. Yeah, but not sure. Yeah, he should be back.
Also, guys, can I just take 1 sec? I just want to give a shout out to my brother, Will Ashcroft, is my dad, in the comments here, or listen to the spaces. He was away. I accidentally traded Liam Duggan into his team instead of Wangini Miller about 5 weeks ago. And it's actually kind of working okay lately. So it's a shout out to you. He's actually in it for a hat. I think he's about ranked 160. So
come on, buddy.
Yeah. Might be the Hat brothers, so we'll see.
There you go. Hopefully it happens.
Hey, Bales, I've got a question then, or
Yep.
or Tim, whatever. People were saying during this game that they reckon that Bevo could actually be sacked. Do you think
Yeah.
that there is a chance? Is there a chance that would happen?
I think that there is a genuine chance it could happen because when coaches spend so long at a football club, it's sort of you got to get change at some point. Like look at even like Clarko, like it was sort of almost time just for sort of him to like go and try rebuild. But I actually had the Dogs the top 14 at the start of the year. I had them locked in my top 4. I thought they were going to be like with Bont midfield and like hopefully Trelaw staying fit and Hugo Hay another year on as well. I thought they were going to do really well and finish top 4, but they probably at this stage going to miss the finals unless they can beat Geelong in Geelong. So, yeah, I think could happen.
Yeah, they've absolutely underperformed, haven't they? I remember when Dunkley left at the end of last season, he sort of was a little bit critical of the culture. Can you remember that? And I was like, maybe there is something to it.
Yeah, the things I've heard out of the Western Bulldogs is Bevo runs the place. But I'm speaking, I don't really know what I'm talking about, so I don't really know. But I would be surprised if he got sacked. I think he's going to haunt us for another season to come.
Yeah.
It's not like with a gun coach they can bring in, like it seems like Hardwick's going to Gold Coast, so they're going to swap him from an untried assistant? Probably not.
Beautiful. All right, we'll move on to the next game, Tim.
Melbourne defeated Hawthorn by 36 points at the MCG, so late change here. Jai Newcomb went out with hamstring tightness and was replaced in the selected side by Henry Hustlewaite.
Another one disappointing that he couldn't wait till next year because he might have been a good base with Price. He looked pretty good today. So, but Carl Amon, it's funny that everyone's gone on first 16 weeks, not 1 ton, and he's now got 500s in a row. So for all those draft coats, it would have really, really helped in the back half of the year. Might have been a late push for finals or anything like that. But he was very good, top scoring in the game. Jack Viney, a bit of a pod. A few coaches might have jumped on 105 there. Gawn got to 100, just bang on the 100. Now, Will Day got injured. Did anyone see this game, what happened? I know he came off a couple of times and was injured. He ended up on 89. Did anyone see what happened?
I was watching bits of this game, and I have Will Day in my team still, and he was carving it. He was actually playing on the back, on that back flank, and they just kept chipping it back around. So he was racking up a really decent score.
Yeah, 51 point third quarter.
Yeah, but it was it must have been something because I just turned it off for a sec. It must have been like right at the start of that last quarter because he scored 0 points and he wasn't there when I turned it back on, and they made their sub at 3/4 time. So I bet you they regretted that a couple of minutes in, but I'm not sure what the injury was.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't see it. So if anyone did know, let us know, and it'd be interesting to see what happened because I know he went off twice. He came back on for a few minutes and then went back off. But 89, he was on track for a good score, and unfortunately just something happened at the end there. Bloody sick dog. Thought he was going big this week, 78. So, not a great score from him.
Copped attention from Melksham.
Oh, he did, yeah. Okay, There you go. So,
which was pretty expected as well.
Yeah. If you play Hawthorn, you take Sicily. So, but then the two disappointing players this game, Christian Petrarca with a 75 and got there with a big last quarter, might add. I think he was on about 40 at 3/4 time, so got to a 75. And Clayton Oliver, he got finned, 66, and I think that broke Oliver's streak of, I think he had a pretty good streak of possessions or whatever, and he only got the 14 disposals for Oliver. So, yeah, not great. Is anyone looking at Petrarca or Oliver in the final in the final week against Sydney? I know Oliver probably the one that a lot of people don't have. Bindi?
I may consider it. I don't think I'm going to have the cash to get an Oliver, but the Sydney matchup should be pretty good. So yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I don't mind going on either as well.
Initially, I wouldn't jump towards Petrarca initially, but now also with Tom McCartan getting 2 weeks, Sydney pretty much are also very, very depleted when it comes to tall defenders. So their defensive stocks are right down. So he may be a shout, but I'd prefer to lean towards Oliver, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. Perfect. Move on to the final game.
All right. Freo defeated defeated by Port Adelaide. Did you hang on? What was the score? They were defeated by Port Adelaide by 5 points.
I
Is that right?
no, I must have not put the actual score in for the.
There we
for the
go.
thing.
What was it?
Port by 16.
16. Port by 16 in the end. Sorry for that, guys. I didn't check the run sheet. Couple of injuries here. So O'Meara did a calf. Banfield hurt his AC joint. And then Burton did a knee and Jonas head. But, yeah, probably not that relevant, mate.
Yep, and of course they used the goal review when Banfield had a pretty good goal there, and it was a meaningless goal. But anyway, no, I'm joking. I'm going to keep going with that one. That's disappointing. But yeah, Luke Ryan, 122, top scored for the game. Harmey's got Hawthorn this week, and I believe that is at the MC. Yes, at the MCG. Is Luke Ryan an option for coach to look at for the final round?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, he's an option. I think he made Dossie's observable thirst top 10, so he doesn't mind getting a touch of the footy.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be high on my targets this week if I look to get in a defender. Andrew Brayshaw, sorry, Tim, had a very good game with a 119. Hawthorn this week. Now, Bindi, you said you were concerned with Sarong with this matchup. Is it potentially a week you could jump off both Brayshaw and Sarong just due to the uncertainty of maybe Nash goes to someone and Finn goes to the other or anything like that? Are you happy to jump off both him and Brayshaw? Well, Sarong and Brayshaw, I should say.
So, I mean, potentially, if your team was in a place where those were your two biggest priorities, if you had to pick between one of them, I think it's more likely that Sarong gets Finned than Brayshaw. I think Sarong has just been a much better player this season. So yeah, I'd be comfortable jumping off Sarong. For sure. Brayshaw, probably a bigger fish to fry, a bit less of a risk.
Yeah, I think that is the right call. Yeah, I think he'll go there. Then again, Brayshaw got a 155 against Hawthorn earlier, so maybe they look at that and go, Brayshaw played very well against us, so maybe they go to him. But yeah, we'll be interesting to see what happens there. Zach Butters, Tim, I know that he's been very, very good for you the last 3 weeks. Another 113, be very happy with him.
Oh, yeah, he's been killing it. If you don't have him in the forward line, who are they playing? Richmond, right?
Richmond
so I think, definitely want to bring him in.
I think could be a good option, especially with a potential Brownlow still in the mix there. So Richmond this week, he could put up a big score. Harmey, have you got Butters?
Yeah, I've got Butters. He's awesome. And I reckon he's a smoky for the Brownlow at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Brownlow's going to be very, very interesting. There's a few names there that could be in the mix there, and then especially with the Dacos out for the last few rounds, it would be very interesting to see who gets that award. Ollie Wines just popped up with 106, so his first 100 in a long time. There you go, and he draft owners be very happy if he wasn't already dropped to the scrap heap. Corey Wagner, 99. A few coaches might have had emergency, have had him for sort of a 23rd player, so he's been pretty solid the last few weeks. Another 99, very good score from him. Hayden Young, 91. Not a huge score there from him, but could be an option for next year if that midfield role continues. In terms of CBAs, he had 18, so he had the second most amongst Freo mids there. Connor Rosie, so first time in, I think 12 weeks, he's gone sub 100, so only an 89 there. He had a very quiet last quarter, I think it was. Only had the 16 points, 2 disposals. Did they switch a tag to him in the last quarter or in the second half?
Yep, Young was running with him.
Yeah, okay, so that was the reason why. So, and Rosie in the third quarter only scored, 11 points, so very poor second half from him, but he'll be fine. You're not trading Rosie out. And then Luke Jackson, poor there with an 83 as well, probably hoping for a bit more with 33 hitouts, and then Sarong also very poor with 86. Could be on the chopping block. Harmey, would he be on a guy that you'd be looking at on the chopping block?
I'd want him at the same time as you, mate. Like, I'm thinking he was going to have a strong finish to the year, but I think I might just leave him. He's one of those guys that, because he's got quite a decent ceiling if he can hit a good game, I think that's worth the risk, and I'll probably just leave him on my side because I've got Jack McRae still, you forget.
Jackson's actually a big concern for me this week. The Hawks matchup for Rockman is pretty restrictive. And Hawks in general, they're just playing pretty damn good footy. So, yeah, he is one you could consider getting off if you don't have bigger things to do. Yeah.
Agreed. Perfect. I think that's all the players, Tim, from that game.
Awesome. All right. Well, why don't we turn to some questions? before we wrap it up for the day. Now, I've got a couple of questions here. Bales, if you go to YouTube, mate, I'll ask this one first from Corey Blackledge. So he's asking who out, boys. So I'll turn this to Bindi and Harmey. So he's got Doherty, Merritt, Taranto, Neal, and Steele. So there's 5 players there: Doherty, Merritt, Taranto, Neal, and Steele. How would you rank them, Bindi?
Definitely don't trade Merritt. I think he's fine this week. Neal, likewise, a good matchup. Taranto, likewise, a good matchup. Who are the other players? Sorry.
Doherty, mate. He's number 1 trade out for me, the LA group.
Yeah, and then Steele
it would be Doherty and then Steele, I think. Yeah. But, geez, like these are luxury trades.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can see that though. Doherty with his run recently. I mean, Taranto with Hopper is not. Who are the Richmond up against? Port Adelaide. I mean, the question, I guess, in the forward line is just who you're going to, right? But if you could trade him out, there's probably some room to move Taranto there as well. But yeah, I think Doherty's number 1 for sure.
You'd move him to Sheasel or Flanders, I think.
Yeah, good point. All right.
Just here, a shout out to, an unfortunate shout out to Jack Mulder, who's watching on YouTube. He said he scored 25-74 and he lost by 5 points in his prelim final. So he needed Sarong to get within 23 points of Butters, and Port chipping it around at the end killed me. He lost in the last 30 seconds of the game. So far out. That's sorry, Jack, for that one. There. That's brutal. But yeah, so Golden Guys said Bindi, could Brayshaw be a trade out because of beginner? So obviously we're talking about that before, but is he someone you may look at trading out?
So you see Sarong getting the fin tag over Brayshaw. I mean, I kind of thought it would have been Brayshaw just because Brayshaw's got that outside role. Do you don't see it like that, Bindi?
Yeah, it could happen.
I mean, I'm going to agree with you. I'm just testing you a little bit here, right?
I think that I think once we go Libba the other week and go Clayton, like going to plus, it made me. I think pretty savvy coach and completely wrong here, but I think Sarong has been a much better player than Brayshaw this season.
Yeah, different types of player. I just think that if Brayshaw can rip apart a game, he can really turn it in Freo's favour. Where I don't feel as much with Sarong, so I'd be tagging Brayshaw if it were me, but who would know?
Yeah, I'm actually open to trading Brayshaw. By the way, it's more just a case of if you had both of them. I can't imagine
more risky.
Yeah, and I can't imagine too many coaches would be able to move Sarong and Brayshaw this week.
And look, hopefully coaches have been, I mean, look, obviously they had the tough matchup today with Port Adelaide. Hopefully coaches have been looking towards these last 2 rounds, seeing that Freo don't exactly have a good run. And hopefully you don't have both of them. Maybe you only have one of them. And potentially, if you've only got one of them, they're a potential trade this week with obviously Hawthorn coming.
The problem is a lot of coaches brought Sarong in last week for the Eagles matchup. Well, not the problem, but just the reality is. So I think there still are a fair few in the top 100 that have both, so yeah, something to look at.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if Sam Mitchell decided to tag like Hayden Young or something, or Luke Ryan with Finn. I wouldn't be surprised. So we've got one. Matt Brown's trying to make me put up a tough season. He said, Bales, would you rather an AFL Fantasy hat or for the goal umpire to review the goal last night? Matt, we know the answer. It's an AFL Fantasy. No, I'm joking. No, of course it's got to be the goal reviewed. I love AFL Fantasy, but obviously Crows are my team, so I'd rather the goal be reviewed. I've got one other one here, Tim, before we go back to some the ones there, and it's just disappeared on me. I don't know, Tim, if you got a question there, you might go that way while I quickly find this one again.
All right. Well, I mean, look, this is essentially probably the last question of the pod because this is the best question to go to for the last one. But it's from Josh. Oh, go on. Do you want to ask yours?
I'll quickly ask mine. Yeah, then we'll get to yours. So this one was from Ouch. He said, "Is it a no-brainer trade to go Jackson to Flanders? My opposition has Flanders in my grand final matchup next week." So, Harmey, what are your thoughts with trying to maybe? Obviously, it depends on the matchup, but what are your thoughts on equalising that sort of play, especially with Flanders having North Melbourne this week?
Yeah, if he is confident, or if they are confident with all their other players, then match it for sure. Why wouldn't you? Because Flanders has got a ceiling; he can go big. But I don't know who's. Let's have a look at it. Freo have got Hawthorn.
Sheasel.
Yeah,
so
Reeves
Bindi
tough
reckons that's
matchup.
going to be a bit of a tough one. And then Gold Coast got North Melbourne. Man, Flanders could go pretty big in that. It's quite a wide ground down there in Hobart, so plenty of space. Yeah, I think Flanders could have a good day. So
The
it's
only
not a
thing I'd
bad
add
idea.
to Bales is I think if you're coming into your grand final, you really want to analyse your points of differences and then figure out whether you're the favourite or whether you're the underdog. And if you're the favourite, then you want to look to equalise. And if you're the underdog, you want to look to go unique.
Yeah, agree. Beautiful. What was your question, Tim? You're going to ask?
Yeah, so this is a great question to wrap up the pod for the day, which is from Josh. Which are the best matchups to target going into the last round? What players have the potential to go huge? So might start off with Harmey for anyone you can think of, and then obviously with Bindi in the top 10 fighting. I'm sure he's got a couple of hot ones he can share with us as well.
Man, I haven't actually been through that. Let's have a quick look, though.
You don't want Bales to share as well, Tim?
Go, Bales. You jump in, mate.
You go, Bales.
For the review system to out next week. No, okay, that's
moving on.
No, but the two ones that stick out. Sorry, the three that stick out to me is the Port Richmond matchup. So Butters and Rosie. If you don't have one of those two, the Eagles Crows matchup. So I still think Tex is still an option, but Laird is the big one there, and that Brisbane St Kilda matchup. I don't mind jumping on a Lachie Neale as like a 1 week play if you got rid of him, because this is a game where I think he could actually go big. I don't see them tagging him necessarily, but then again, it's a must-win game, so maybe they do. So I'm not sure. I haven't been big on Neale all year, but I just think he could be an option. And obviously Tom Stewart, but a lot of coaches have got him ready. That'd be the ones I'd probably say.
Bales, you said Tom Stewart, right? But they play against the Bulldogs, who have a lot to play for, and Bont's a chance at the Brownlow, right? So if I didn't have Bont, I would be doing a fair bit to try and get him in. That's probably a point.
Yeah.
Tom Green could probably be a good pickup for the same reason. GWS are punching for that eighth spot. He's had a bit of time away, so he could be in for a good game as well against Carlton. So, look, I like Sheasel. I actually, and this is why I'm a bit kicking myself, because against the Gold Coast, in the backline role, no Zeeble, I think he's probably in for a good week.
Yeah, I like it.
Bindi, what do you got?
Yeah, okay. So I really like Merritt on Friday night against Collingwood. I think we already own him, but he's a potential VC pick. US are pretty good for inside mid. They've got the Carlton match. So I think if people are cash strapped, a player they could look at is Huey, George Hewitt. I think he tons this week.
Yes,
no reason. Yeah, no reason he won't do it again. We look at North, very good for inside mids. I think they're playing down in Hobart against Gold Coast. So your obvious picks is probably Flanders. But I still like Noah, but Noah's not someone I would trade into. He's just someone that I would hold if I had. And when I say if I had, I mean I do have him and I'm going to hold him. I think also, look, it's also just about getting off the players that, have a high risk of having a bad game or being tagged. In that case, we've talked about the Freo boys. They're probably the two main ones, but also, Jackson as well against Hawthorn Rocks. Not a great matchup for him. So I'm sure I'll think of a few more as I do my research throughout the week.
Well, John just commented saying, is anyone keen on a Caneen Coleman against St Kilda for a 1 week play?
I love it. I love the idea of it, but I don't think I could go there. He concerns me like this. I don't think he's fit enough to round a full game still. Still see him cramping up, and it seems to be a bit of an injury risk. That being said, like I'm a Brizzy
97
fan.
this week.
Jeez, did he get 97?
Yeah, against Collingwood he had 21 disposals, 7 marks from 72% game time.
Oh, yeah, no, you can do it. You can do it.
Priced at 673.
I'm a huge fan of him, and I just try not to be too optimistic about Brizzy players.
Who are you going out of him and Shannon Hearn? Because Shannon Hearn's priced at $6.96. So
Stealing my thunder, Bale. So that was going to be mine.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
I was going to get one in for my boy.
well, yeah. So you're looking at Hearn, Tim.
Oh, I don't know if I'm looking at him, but I in terms of the question, what are the matchups? I mean, I think Shannon Hearn with no defenders, no other defenders really playing in that West Coast backline against Adelaide in his last game. I mean, he's technically out with an Achilles, but I think he'll be back for his final game, and I think they're going to give him a lot of the ball. So if you're chasing a cheap defender, I think he's a really great option.
I think a lot of coaches are actually in that boat as well because they'll have a Zeeble to trade out.
Yeah, mate. I just don't see Shuey kind of racking up at the back there, getting heaps of +6s. Shuey's a work dog. He's going to be in there, still fighting like he always fights. I'm not sure he's going to be racking them up like he might some players in their last game.
Is that
All
everyone?
right, I think that's about everyone. Any last shouts there, boys?
For me?
Awesome.
Oh,
All
just
right.
good luck to Bindi. Good luck, Bindi. Yeah, I hope you put up a really high score and make a run for the top 5 or get up the rung a few spots there too, mate. So all the best.
I appreciate it, guys.
It's been an absolutely epic season, Bindi, and we're definitely going to be fucking cheering you all the way home on Sunday, mate, especially from the live show.
Oh, that's very, very nice to hear. I must admit, I've been very stoic with AFL Fantasy since the buys, being in these ranks. But it's going to be a very exciting week. It's going to be the grand final parade this week, and
we've appreciated you coming
week.
We've appreciated coming on the pod as well, mate. So look, let's thank both of our guests, Harmey. As always, mate, you're a bloody legend. We love you coming on. Thanks a lot. And might be the last time we speak to you for the year, mate. So if not, welcome to the Content Creators Cup next year, mate. And we'll look forward to chatting next year. Mate, where can the peeps find you?
Just on the PODPOD. We'll have a session tomorrow night probably. And looking forward to the grand final week as well. So, and just on Twitter, John Harmey.
Wicked. And Bindi, mate, any plans for this last week, mate? Any preparation, or are you just going to be, crunching numbers and getting ready for the big weekend?
Oh, to be honest, I probably won't crunch any numbers till teams come out on Thursday.
Yeah.
I just, try to get a bit more space away from the game, right?
Relax a bit.
It can be overwhelming,
Yeah.
Look,
how's the stress levels?
Oh, fine, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm just, quite stoic with it all this year, and definitely, spending a bit less time on the game. I think it's very easy to get super overwhelmed, but, being able to force myself not to watch every game.
Yeah.
So that's been nice, I suppose. Stress level's fine. Whatever happens.
Well, we're all following, mate, and best of luck. No matter what happens, like I said, it's been an epic season. You should be really proud.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys having me on so many weeks in a row.
We've loved it, mate. We've loved it.
One last comment as well. If you were interested in my thoughts for the week in terms of trades, I am pretty keen on moving Luke Jackson out. So I'll probably move him to a Sheasel. In terms of the other trade, don't really know yet. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, will you be doing your questions on next Saturday as well?
Yeah,
No?
probably will.
Probably, yeah.
Will.
Yeah. You've been
To
doing
be
those
honest,
last few weeks, yeah.
yeah, it's a little selfish to be honest. Like I like those because that's when I do most of my research. See, people will say players' names and I'll be like, oh, I haven't heard their name. Look at their stats and stuff. It's good, but hopefully it's been helpful for people.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, boys, for coming on, and of course, thanks to everyone for joining us. And in particular, thanks to those who sent in questions. Yeah, Bales, what do you want to shout out?
I was just gonna say, just final, obviously shout out. Obviously, it was upsetting as a AFL Fantasy fanatic that you couldn't get job done, but shout out to Mitch as well from Bull Boys once again for winning it. I'm sure that the head will be massive on the screen tomorrow night. Probably won't be able to see the head. The head. Luke might not be on the screen because his head will be blocking up the whole screen. But congrats, Mitch, You've had a great season, Tim. Obviously, you had a great season. Well, it'll be interesting to see who can get the overall leaderboard by the end of the year.
We'll battle that out next week. I think I worked it out. It's 37 points difference. So that's what it is for the final week to finish. See if I can get one back and win the overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks a lot to everyone who sent in questions. Thanks for joining us. Of course, you can send your questions to us on Twitter. And please give us a follow at AFL Fantasy Fans. Of course, don't forget to tune in each week. So firstly on Fridays from, here we go, I always mess up the times, 4 p.m. Western, 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday for our pre-lockout chat.
Beautiful.
And then normally at around about 5 p.m. Western, 7 p.m. Eastern for our final round review. Of course, we've got the live show, so make sure you head across to the link and secure your tickets there before they run out. And, I think that's about all. So, guys, don't forget the podcasts. Wherever you get your podcasts, and please subscribe to the pod. And if you're on subscribe on Apple Podcasts, please give us a review. That'd be much appreciated. Best of luck with your research and trades for this final week of the season. And we will catch you all again at the same time next week. Thanks a lot for joining us, and bye for now.
See ya.
Bye.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thanks,
Thanks,
boys.
Harmey. Thanks, Bindi, for jumping on.
Thanks for having me.
I'm running out of steam. It's been a long bloody year, eh?
Mate, it is a long season. I think since the buys as well, it's just been a bit like, I don't know, it's felt a little more stale because we've all got a lot of teams, complete teams for a month now, you know. And luxury trades are
fucking
God, they
I hate
suck.
luxury trade. They suck, mate.
Dude, the curse of Will Day, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I traded out Cogs and Sheezy this week, 129 and 105.
bloody
I mean, my
hell.
trade-ins were good, but there could have been other people I traded out. But anyway,
Matt Brown also said good luck, Bindi, as well. He said that on the YouTube stream.
Oh,
So
thank you, Matt. I appreciate it, buddy.
awesome. All right, boys,
Perfect.
I'm gonna go
No,
get something to eat. Great to chat.
all
We'll
good.
speak during the week.
beautiful.
Take care, guys. Bye.
See you, boys.
See ya.
Ciao.